They are ruckman trying to be forwards. You do have to hit the scoreboard.
This will be a great contest too in this near side wing, Simpson and also Gaff.
Hampson a late omission because of the weather here, we think, carrying the three bigs in. The official word from the rooms is bad back. Sore back, cold conditions, put the two together and you come up with no game. Here's an opportunity for the Eagles to get the first touch. It has literally rained here for 10 hours straight today. And the ground has come up an absolute treat. Back into the side, Heath Scotland after a week off. Here's Tui. Handball to Robinson.
See Brock McLean, he looks like he's being manned up with Pritis. He's been really good in this last few weeks. He's averaging 15 handballs, so he's been distributing out for the Blues.
Shuey escorts it over the line under some Bryce Gibbs pressure.
Carazzo has actually started half forward. Looks like he's going to do a defensive role on Hearn, who is so dangerous with ball in hand. I mean, a massive kick-off half-back.
Of course, Carazzo coming back from that shoulder blade break, I think, in 3 different spots, so quite a serious injury. Be interesting to see whether the Eagles are willing to test that out at all. Kick goes on the head of Betts. He should get a free.
Any Betts' arm is around.
Selwood infringing there.
Yeah, that was unnecessary by Selwood. He had him covered perfectly. He had Schofield coming over the top, just didn't need to hold on.
Betts to Scotland. Down the boundary line they go. He ran out of support in the end, Scotland. He thought Betts was still going to be there. In the end, he went long. Simpson set himself. Rosa a hand there. Off hands. Henderson nailed in the Shuey tackle. Umpire decides to let it go. Gibbs gets a look from 48. Really tough shot from there.
He can just find the ball, can't he, Carazzo? Already had 2 touches there in that passage of play. He's got the ability to sniff it out wherever he is.
So Hearn, the designated hitter from fullback for West Coast, as he so often is.
Carazzo standing on the mark there. He's definitely going to try and quell that influence of Hearn. When he's kicking the football, the Eagles are playing well. They'll try and stop that.
Hands in the back, Natanui.
That'll go to Nick Natanui. Clear hand in the back there. So really good crowd in here for Thursday night football. Approaching 30,000. Darling.
Hold there, Nick. Hold.
Marsden wanted it short. Nothing on there. There is Hearn creeping down. Carazzo right there with him, but couldn't stop that. Kick now goes out wide. Not a great direction in the ball.
Just as you pump someone up, look what happens.
That's dangerous territory, though. If Hearn can start getting the ball in that midsection of the ground because his kicks are so penetrating, that'll really worry the Carlton defence.
Walker. Ball doesn't seem to be at all slippery out there, does it? Given the fact it only stopped raining here less than an hour ago. Really good conditions, great ground preparations. Kerr will get a high one there.
High tackle. He's just picking the ball up.
Allard, the infringer. Joseph, who initially was dropped down to the side, is back into the side with Hampson going out, as I mentioned. Here's McGinnity down the line. Good-looking ball to the advantage of the big man there, but couldn't quite get it.
They're a bit undersized in defence, Carlton, too. Dygan's actually had to go to Darling. I don't like that matchup, BT. I think he's going to be too big and strong in the air if they can isolate that one.
I think that's because Henderson's gone forward. They sort of have to play Dygan on Darling, probably Timmy tonight.
Interesting matchup indeed. Warnock, Gibbs, all combining. And there's Tui. Brilliant smother by Shuey, I think it was.
What's it like down there, Lengy, the ground? Is there a lot of surface water? It doesn't look too bad.
No, there's a fair bit of moisture here, Richo. It will be slippery, but the drainage of these grounds, AFL grounds now, is so good. It'll clear up pretty quickly.
This one in particular because the very sandy base. This one off the ground. Got there to touch it, did Dygan, I think. May have got a free in the back, actually. He has.
Judd also staying forward in the early part of this game, being picked up by Schofield.
Dygan comes out in the Henderson direction. Not enough in it now. I reckon Hearn can go the journey from here.
He'll go through post high from here.
Yep.
This is what West Coast Eagles do so well. Just keep trapping the ball inside their forward 50, getting repeat entries, just building the pressure on the opposition. They're the best in the comp at doing it.
Well, they just own it at their forward end, Lingy. They just absolutely own it. As Hearn lines up, really dark skies coming from the south. Hearn on the way. It's all about accuracy. And you talk about owning it offline minor score there. It is interesting. I'm looking up some stats of the West Coast Eagles. Richo, just 58 tackles. They're 18th in tackles in the comp. What's going on there?
Well, they do. They're the most effective kicking team. They're generally controlling the play, but I don't think it's just all about tackling, BT. I think they're the #1 team for just putting pressure on the opposition, forcing them to make decisions and turning it over. It's not necessarily just raw tackle numbers.
They are the least tackled in the competition as well, but their accuracy by foot and hand is at 75%, #1 in the comp, so they do control the ball really well. Selwood, don't Selwood. No, we'll go to Selwood, in fact, and off the side to yet another Selwood. This is Scott. Not the give back from Rosa. Scott Selwood. Good ball. Shepherd. Started on the bench for the Eagles. Just so well drilled, this West Coast Eagle outfit. Have won 16 home games in a row. A real fortress for them. Hasn't been like that for years and years, back to the 04-05 when they managed to put 20 wins together. Here's an opportunity for Yaron. Look at the smooth running approach. Couple of bounces. I reckon he can keep going. Gets a look from 40. Goes the low skidder. Offline. Has a bit of a wry smile to himself.
That's a great sign for him, though, Chris Yaron. Good to see him out there early in the game. Was the sub player last week and just read that ball beautifully. Darren Glass would be disappointed. He had a mismatch with Eddie Betts. He probably could have marked that football on the wing. Went to punch it. Yaron crumbed it, and that's the run he can provide, Tim. He's a quick player.
And that's a danger too, though, for the West Coast Eagles. If they can get out the back, Garland, Betts and also Yaron, they're going to cause the West Coast Eagles some real trouble.
Schofield wide. Cruiser flew, and McLean helping it over the boundary line. Had a very impressive last game, Brock McLean. It's interesting on that last kick out how they waited for Schofield, who was out on the defensive 50, to actually come and pick up the ball. They just put it on the ground for him, said we're not kicking it out until we get Schofield here. And with he and Hearn, they must have particular plays for each of them. Farmer, the umpire, electing to throw it up. So a rather benign opening as Walker goes inside 50 with a kick. Henderson there, picked up by Cruiser. On the left, the big man. I think he's done it. Fantastic goal from Cruiser. So Cruiser with the first goal of the game for the Blues. Good start for them.
Well, that's a fantastic left foot snap for a man 200 centimetres. He's so good at ground level, though, Matty Cruiser. He's like an extra-on baller at ground level, but good to see him getting a goal early as the full forward. That's a great start for Cruiser to get on the scoreboard.
Gibbs, clever soccer. Hands almost in the back of Henderson there. Robinson just absolutely stamped urgent to try and win the ball. Kick by McGinnity, not getting it done.
Early signs are good for the Blues, aren't
Yes,
they?
they
A lot
are.
of urgency around the ball, around the stoppages. They've been good at moving the ball.
Just the conditions, Tim, I reckon. Coolness here, you know, it just seems easier at night over here for opposition sides. I know we're only early in the game, but they'd be loving these conditions, the Blues.
But you do want to get off to a good start when you're on the road like this. You know, Brett Ratton talked about it during the week about the sides coming off the bye and how slow they were. He was right to a certain extent. There's a 33% winning record last year. The only trouble was West Coast came off the bye twice with wins.
Selwood down the line. Scott Selwood it was. Quick hands, missed Allard in the end. Now Jack Darling through some traffic, did it nicely. Glass, really efficient player, Glass, and did it very coolly off half back then. The Blues, Daigan. He's got Watson if he wants some support. There is Watson. He's a left foot up. Made a bit of a mess out of that. Allard just missed Simpson with the handball.
Gee, you hear the crowd there. They're not happy. They think that Big Q-Tip should have got a free kick.
There's a hand.
There's definitely a hand there. But that crowd, it's so intense here. It's like a cauldron. You can see what they do, win a lot of free kicks at home. It has to influence umpires,
I reckon
certainly.
you could slide a bit of paper between the hand and the back, though. I'm not
Seen less fade, though.
Yes,
BT.
okay, Richo. Shuey, Shepherd now. Back inside, free players. Marston was one, it cleared the head, and Lynch was able to mark just where he'd like this one. 35 out directly in front.
Well, Lingy, Gibbs has gone to Shuey and just gave Shuey too much space at that last stoppage.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing when you give a quality player like Luke Shuey a bit of space, especially in that forward half of the ground. Such a damaging user of the ball, and I know Bryce Gibbs is pretty damaging himself, but he want to be tightening up on Luke Shuey.
199th game for Quinton Lynch. He's kicked 14 goals this year. A really important player over the period for West Coast. Comes in, he's a very, very reliable kick, and West Coast get there first.
Well, there's Brett Ratton with Shane O'Sullivan just controlling the board there.
So Lynch kicks the first for the West Coast Eagles. And they get themselves underway.
Just looking at the Carlton forward 50 there, you can see, I reckon they think they've got an opportunity to win the ball in the air against the Carlton, trying to isolate their defenders one-on-one. Only 3 players inside 50.
There's Jamison off half-back for Carlton to half-forward. Henderson tied up, and we'll have a throw in at the Carlton end of the ground.
Yeah, those 3 players were obviously Darling and the big Q-tip who just kicked the goal, and Josh Hill, who's had a great year. He's kicked a goal in every game he's played for the Eagles so far.
Nui and Cox both going together. Robinson.
Oh, great grab.
Paid, I think, in the end, was it or not?
It was, yeah.
Was indeed to Brennan.
Gee, that was outstanding pair of hands then.
Short ball, Prittis. Prittis looks outside. Cox is lurking there if he wants him. Bit of a bailout kick. He wants something a bit more depth about it than that. So a lot of free kicks being paid early in this game.
Yeah, Simpson just got caught out on Nat Nui then.
Darling, 52 out, is able to play on, sends it high, gets a bit of altitude. It's all about the accuracy from there on. He's just missed it to the right.
A lot of confusion at the moment in the Carlton defence about who's going to go to who, and the previous foray into their forward line, they found Lynch inside 50 on his own. On that occasion, they found Darling, so they're just trying to work themselves out, the Carlton defence at the moment. Jamison came right up the ground, then he went back deep.
Back in by Scotland, looking for Cruiser. Nat Nui with an aggressive fist over the top as we go down to Cameron Ling.
Boys, of course, Andy Carrazzo coming back early. He had a fractured right shoulder blade. Noticing that sewn into the back of his jumper is a big bit of padding. Obviously, still wary about that shoulder blade and the fact that it may get hurt in a contest. So I'll be keeping an eye on that one all night for you guys.
Let's pick up Lingy. That's why he's down there in amongst it, Lingy, because he can see things like that.
Not surprised. He spent 4 hours on the plane eating carrots.
Yes. Yes, no, he is a bit of a carrot man. Cruiser, did he slip?
Being held, Daniel Kerr.
Off the ball. An enormous amount of free kicks being paid in this game at the moment. I've got to say I don't like it, but there you got to pay him, I guess. Now, Hearn was being held off the play by Carrazzo. And I think he said Carrazzo was in the 5-metre protected zone.
Is that what the umpire said then?
I think he said that. Well, you know, whether he was holding him, I'm not sure.
Well, he was holding him. He was trying to stop him from getting to the ball. Hearn was trying to get the handball received from Kerr.
Need to have another look at it, but that's spot on. He would have been worried about Hearn getting a quick release handball because we know he can thump it 60 metres, and he just got too close to Daniel Kerr, and you can't come within 5 metres.
Kerr goes back and just drills the goal for West Coast. So West Coast by 6 points. Let's have a listen to what the umpire said on this. Holding. So the holding ball there. Back in the middle of the ground, Prittis. So umpire quite correct in his Free kick there. McGinnity was initially involved in that. Here's Marston. Armfield was about. Robertson kept it rolling along the ground. Got the extra back already, have they, Richo?
No, what happened there, Carazzo was on Schofield at the bounce. He came in and got sucked into the play, and Schofield just sat back.
Marston, ground level, was able to respond, almost got bowled over by his own teammate. Scotland's in amongst it. Will need to hold it up.
Richo talked about the pressure that the West Coast Eagles apply. Just looking at the early stats too, Carlton have had 19 kicks and 18 handballs. Now, a lot of those haven't been really productive, creative handballs. They've just been out of trouble. Good pressure from the Eagles.
Kerr being pursued by Allard. McLean back to Armfield, had to get rid of it quickly. Joseph now caught in the Marston tackle.
Holding the ball.
Holding the ball, said the umpire.
Just to explain a little bit more what we're talking about, the pressure. Carlton have not been able to take a mark yet in this game. The Eagles are just all over them.
Lynch through the hands. Scotland heard the McLean voice out back. Josh Hill tried to soccer it and almost kicked Carazzo in the guts. Prittis now to Hams. Ashton Hams. Marston involved. Gaff. Nat Nui through some traffic with some gentle hands, and then the don't argue on Jamison said just get out of the way. The Eagles go forward again. Underneath it is Shepherd over the top. Tui.
Great defensive play there by Tui. This is the kick by Josh Hill. I mean, that's got to be indiscriminate. That's got to be a free kick against Hill. That's dangerous. Not what Carazzo would like after just spent a bit of time on the sidelines with a broken shoulder.
Prittis round the corner. Nat Nui's one out down there with Watson. Did well to hold him. Nat Nui gave himself a chance though. He protected the drop zone. Only he could have got there. Walker off hands. Hearn ran into the aggressive Heath Scotland tackle.
I love seeing Nat Nui push to the goal square early in his career, and this year he's certainly improved in this area. He's going forward now and taking marks, contested marks. He wasn't a big mark taker early in his career. It's great to see him pushing up there.
Had his defender exactly where he wanted him then, didn't he? Protected the drop zone.
Just didn't quite time his release perfectly. Just left it a little bit too late, but he'll worry any defender deep. Because look at the size difference on Jamison there.
Yep. Not to mention the athletic ability to go over the top if he gets a crack at it. Cox.
Oh, it's a free kick.
Yeah. Up the arms there by White.
Cox, hold.
They want to go quickly here to Nat. They've got isolation.
He's come to this side of the ground, which I reckon was the long. He needed to go to the other side to get the one-on-one in the clear space. Now that goes in that direction, and it's a 3-on-1 there. They closed in on him. Knew he'd be the target. Scotland under some enormous pressure. Tui just got the kick away. Off hands, Yaron needs to get rid of Gaff. Did he dispose of it correctly? The umpire said it was knocked out in the tackle. Fair enough.
They're just under the pump. You get the ball in your hands and they're just all over you like this. Nat Nui all over Scotland. You have no time to make a decision as a Carlton player, and that's why they haven't been able to take one mark yet over halfway through this quarter.
Good tackle it was in the end. Kerr wasn't actually knocked out by the tackler. It was just a clean drop.
Boys, you're talking about West Coast's ability to shut Carlton down and really smother them. We're now 18 minutes into the first quarter. Chris Judd has yet to touch the footy. That's an amazing stat. Bloke who's just such a prolific ball winner, can't get a hold of it.
Who's gone to him, Lingy?
Oh, he's standing on the bench right now, Timmy. I think he's pretty keen to get back out there, but I'll keep an eye on who's actually doing the job on him for you.
It is interesting with Juddy because when he went to Carlton, Carlton have won 5 of their last 7 games here since Juddy joined Carlton at this ground. So he's made a difference to their travel, and certainly when they played the Eagles here at this venue. 5 of their last 7. Before that, they were all horrible travellers, Carlton. Over the top, Mackenzie arrives. Always got the left shoulder strapped. Handball's off to Adam Selwood, who just goes neatly down the line looking for Kerr. Did well in the body contest.
Yeah, Ellard's doing the job on Kerr at the moment. Juddy's still getting good numbers this year. He's averaging about 26 disposals, but he's just not finding it in space as much, and especially with Murphy out of the team also.
One of the players with a break coming up. I think they've got 10 or 11 days after this that will be staying here in Perth for a few days. Wife, Rebecca, and the young fellow who all come aboard. Here's Cruiser into the middle.
Oscar.
Glass over the top. Yes, Oscar's in amongst it, Richo. So cool off half-back.
And that's the problem at the moment. They're not getting anything really productive off half-back themselves, Carlton. That was just a kick in hope. It was a 1-on-2. and they're always going to be outnumbered there, the Carlton forwards.
So Eagles here with some time for some space. Gaff is the young man carrying the ball on his non-preferred side, goes inboard. Tui did well, probably could have taken the mark. He did really well, in fact. But guess what? Shuey, what a magnificent pickup off his laces. Goes long. Nat Nui with a slide. Great knock away by Jamison. Hill now. What a superb defensive knock by Jamison.
Just like a slingshot at the moment, though, isn't it? They're getting it out of defence, but it's just coming straight back with interest. They just haven't been able to find anybody that's been able to really control the ball with any poise or composure, Carlton, so they can set something up and just take a little bit of time and just compose themselves.
And that last kick from the wing to half forward is really letting them down at the moment. This is what West Coast do. They just get all of the play at their end and they just squeeze.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of the way they play. But the positive for the Blues are they're really hanging in there. 67% in the West Coast forward line, only a goal in this game, so they're hanging in well, the Blues.
Like Watson was entertaining the crowd there, but he was looking down with his eyes, although his head was looking up, if you know what I mean, to Ratton. I guess you don't know what I mean. Here's Kerr.
We don't often know what you mean.
It's okay. It's okay. There he is, the big boy, Watson.
What was he doing?
Well, he was, the guys over the fence were entertaining themselves, and it looked like he was looking at them, but he wasn't. Cox.
He might have been.
Judd, there he is, still yet to touch it. Gaff. Selwood backed out of one and into the Corazzo tackle. Caruza. Now this is a one-on-one genuine with about 35 metres between them and anyone else. Eddie's very good at this. He says, I've got it near the boundary line. It'll need to bend, it won't.
Actually, that's a better result to go out of bounds there too. But that was good. I mean, at least they had an isolation of one-on-one.
And in the end, that's the quality you get. That's the quality of shot you get from Carlton, from the West Coast Eagles defence. Great shot there of the traffic around this stoppage. And I don't think it'll come out of there. Judd completing the tackle.
Tackled him down. Tackled him down. Let him up. Look, you're free for
Now,
high.
initially he said higher than the umpire, and then he said you tackled him down like a sling motion. Well, which one was it? Gaff again. Tui arrived before Hill. Corazzo. Dangerous ball let out of there into the middle. Darling's there. Schofield's running loose as well down the field. Marston can go over the top to McGinnity. He just needs to hook it up and give us some room. Here's Hill. He went and he got.
So, there's this call again on Chris Judd.
Put him on his head, fair enough. He did, didn't he?
Yeah, they don't like the head being buried into the ground. Great poise from Darling in the middle of the ground there before he made the right decision to switch it out to the fat side of the ground.
Josh Hill coming to kick this goal. Kicked a goal in every game that he's played. 10 he's played this year for West Coast, so he's done his job. Nat Nui and Hearn both line up. Kerr had to go and get it in the end. Looks inboard. Nice control. Schofield. Good kick. Can find a target. Lets it rip from 52 metres out. Gone all the way, Schofield. Or was it Brennan? It might have been Brennan. It was Schofield. It was Schofield, in fact. Magnificent kick by that young man.
And once again, the ball came out, but it went back with interest. Now, you can see just in the background there, Cruiser just moving up to the contest. He actually had to be the player that presented up the line. And at least half the contest, and they're too far back at the moment, Richo, the Carlton forwards. They've actually got to come right up the ground and pick up those West Coast Eagles players that are across the middle of the ground, because they're just finding too much space. The forwards, the West Coast Eagles are putting the pressure on. The kicks are not coming out cleanly enough.
And you can't let Schofield stand 60 metres out on his own. You know he's got a thumping leg on him. You had to press up on him and he was in that situation. He was there for ages, wasn't he, BT?
Yeah, we called him about a minute before that as being free in an attacking position.
Dive on it, must knock it clear. Wow.
So here's Allard getting it off to Scotland. Scotland goes really wide, looking for Henderson. Needed to mark that. Now get the hands out in front, take it in the hands. Don't give the defender a chance. Ratton not happy. Have a look at this.
Yeah, he would have marked it if he took it out in front. And even if you do put your hands out in front, the defender will often chop your arms, so you'll get the free kick anyway. It's just a confidence thing with the slippery ball that he's gone for the chest mark.
Shepherd. Gee, Rich, I want you to go down and have a feel of the ball. I don't think it's that slippery at the moment, is it?
We've had about a metre of rain here today, BT, so I'm tipping there's a bit of moisture around.
The ground's dry, Rich. I want you to go down and check that out at quarter time. Just run down the steps here and check it out for us. But not too bad.
It's a quick throw up there by the umpire.
We'll get the word off Lingy in a moment. Rosa. I want to see proof of it too, Lingy. There's Prittis to Marston. Great tackle in the end there by Jeffy Garland, who's been unsighted so far. McGinnity, Prittis now. Back to traffic. Really cool. Look sideways. There he is. Schofield. Way out of the Geelong Falcons. He's a great runner in his school days. 800-metre runner, I reckon he was. Hill, fast hands. Now here's an opportunity. Got Yarran some space and some time. Kick to Robinson. Plenty of Carlton players around the ball. Gave it up there on that occasion. Did Allard. And now Hill hammers it forward. Darling in front. Scotland got him in a good tackle. He put the head back as if he was tackled high, but I don't reckon he was. Kick out of the pack now to the boundary.
He definitely threw his head back here, Darling. The umpire was right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he'd be disappointed when he sees that.
That is professional acting, and that...
Well, is that what you want players cited for, though?
Well, I just reckon that we saw a fine the other week, I think, to
Jeddah,
and I think that's probably in Semeril. I mean, if the umpire had fallen for that, we would have been cursing the umpire. And just can't have it, I don't reckon.
Should you pay the free kick the other way?
Absolutely.
No, I reckon what the umpire should do now is go to Darling and say, listen, we caught you on the last one, don't do it again.
But often they don't know, Tim. They haven't seen the replay like us. That's the trouble.
Well, I reckon he did because he threw his head back. He didn't give him the free kick. So the officiating umpire must have seen what took place.
Yep, fair enough. Attacking 50, just seems that all of the players been at this end of the ground so far in this 27-minute period. And Carlton, each time they go forward, they're kicking into a contest like this. Betts has been trying to beat his man one-on-one in Selwood. McKenzie had a bit too much juice on the handball there. Now, how can he possibly get that out? He can't.
No prior.
He was lying on top of him.
Here we go.
So they're throwing it up quickly, the umpires, too.
Minute 41 remaining in the quarter. The players, they get behind the ball here. Judd. Betts. Plays on. Little kick over the top. Walker. Got to be clean here. No skid. Did you see that? No skid. Goal, Carlton and Walker.
There's no doubt in my mind the umpires are throwing the ball up really quickly to avoid these big packs of players. They've been hot this first quarter of footy, and as long as the players pick up on it really quickly, they'll be able to get there, get their numbers around and clear the ball like Carlton did on that occasion.
I reckon it played into Carlton's hands. Then Eddie Betts knew they were going to throw it up quickly. He got back quicker than his opponent, Timmy, and he's absolutely spot on.
So the good work of the Blues, Judd initially, and then Betts to realise that Walker was running towards goal. And the finish there in the end. Kerr put himself in a position to win that one. Prittis had to get rid of it. Well done. They always go backwards, don't they? Looking for time when under pressure.
Gee, they spread well too, the West Coast Eagles, don't they, the space.
Rosa. Long and high. Lynch sets himself. A little bit of a nudge on Dygan there. Just to get him under the ball. Did it well. Disguised it beautifully.
They're always dangerous in this situation too. West Coast Eagles. They score a lot from their clearance work.
Minutes to go in the quarter. Cox and Natanui tandem in the ruck there. A lot of players around the ball. Eventually it comes out. Carlton don't actually want it to come out here. They almost put it back in.
Just see how quickly the umpire grabs hold of the ball and throws it up here.
Yep. Let's keep an eye on. He hasn't got the ball as yet. The umpires, the players have smartened up and they've gone, we're not going to give it back to you.
Richo touched on this earlier too about the marking discrepancy here. West Coast Eagles had 19 marks to Carlton's 2 in this first quarter. I mean, that's just extraordinary.
Early stages this year, Carlton were having 100 marks a game, and it was their spread and run that was worrying the opposition. They've just been shut down totally in the last month.
McLean to Armfield. Once again, kick under enormous pressure. Now, Betts gets a look from here, but there's nothing on downfield. Yaron's going to have to beat Glass in a foot race. He's gaining on him. He's waiting for the fumble from Glass. He keeps his feet. Yaron did well. Gaff arrived. Really well done. Walker's there as well. They bail out the back door and concede the behind from McKenzie.
That's the only time where West Coast have been looking very vulnerable. When Carlton can move the ball quickly through the middle of the ground and get over the back, that's got to hurt a little bit too. That doesn't help.
Well, the couple of times they've been able to get through that press, when they do get it through, they look really dangerous with those fast forwards like Betts and Yaron on that occasion, and Walker before kicking that goal from the goal square.
Good whack of this man here on Selwood there before. Schofield. Time will run out here, and we won't see any further scoring in this quarter of football. Entertaining quarter of football. It's tight. The Blues are certainly in the hunt. West Coast playing some really, really good football here at the moment. Good crowd in. West Coast 3-3-21. Lead the Blues 2-3-15. This is Thursday Night Football.